Hello and welcome back to Miss Piana's math lesson videos. Happy Tuesday. Today we are going over checkpoint number 5. The topic is absolute value. We're going to start with this value here. We have the absolute value of -8. So we can see that -8 is in the middle and we have two lines on either side. Those lines mean absolute value. And when we see this, we're going to say that it's the absolute value of -8. Whatever number is in the middle, positive or negative, we're taking the absolute value of it. So absolute value means the distance from the number to 0. It's always going to be positive. In this case, it is the distance from -8 to 0 on a number line. We know that -8 is 8 units to the left. So the value of the absolute value of -8 is going to be 8. The absolute value of -8 is 8 units to the left, 8 units from 0. So the absolute value of -8 is 8. Here in pink, we're going to add an inequality. We're saying that the absolute value of -8 is greater than 5. When we write it out here, the absolute value of -8 is greater than -5. And this is basically saying that -8 is more than 5 units away from 0 on the number line. Okay? So again, the absolute value means how many units away from 0. We know that the absolute value of -8 is 8. And 8 is indeed greater than 5. So this statement is true. The absolute value of -8, which is 8, is bigger than 5. 8 is bigger than 5. So, some things you need to remember when we're talking about absolute value. First thing, the absolute value is always positive. Because we're just talking about units, either to the left or to the right, it's always going to be positive. Even when we're taking the absolute value of a negative number, the absolute value is still positive. Second, the absolute value of 0 is 0. And that makes sense because we're talking about the distance away from 0. So if we're right at 0, we're not any units to the right or to the left. So the absolute value will be 0. And the last reminder is that opposites have the same absolute value. I'm going to show that here. We have a number line. And if we're talking about -2 and 2, those are opposites. -2 is a negative number. +2 is, of course, positive. They're both 2 units away from 0. The absolute value of 2 is going to be 2, and the absolute value of -2 is going to be 2. That's because they're both 2 units away from 0. For -2, it's 2 units to the left. For +2, it's 2 units to the right. Either way, the absolute value is still going to be 2. So today you're working on IXL M4. You're going to get that to 80. Once you've gotten to 80, you're working on checkpoint number 5 and requesting feedback. Please make sure that you are requesting feedback by the end of class. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Have a great day and stay tuned for the next episode of Miss Piana's Math Lesson.